So now we'll look at filling out the test sheets. So details of the clients. So this is whoever asks you to carry out the work or the organisation you're carrying out the work for. So for this one, it is Nottingham College. Installation address, where did we carry out the work? So for this one, it's Highfields. Yeah. Description of installation. Now that is asking you whether it is a domestic, commercial or industrial type setting. So for this one, it is commercial. Yeah. It is a new installation. And what is covered by it? Well, what have we tested? We tested the lights. We tested the DOL and motor and the ring. Yeah. Design. Now we didn't design it, so for that reason it is NA on the signature line. Construction, once again, NA. Inspection testing. Now, this paragraph here basically states that you have inspected to the best of your knowledge and you have done everything in accordance with BS 7671. So that is obviously the regs book. Amended to, and then whatever date we're working on. So as it is now, we are currently working to the 2022 date. However, because the rush amendment that went through last year, 2024 is also acceptable there, but do not see date and write today's date there. Next, we then sign it, date it, and then name it, because we are the inspector. We then say how long for it then to be tested. So for this one, because it is a commercial, we are saying it is 5 years. Okay. So, moving on to the next page. There is no designer. There is no constructor. However, we can fill out the inspector as we are the inspector. Now, feel free to make up a company or make up an address and put that in, or put your address in. As long as there's an address in there, that's what matters. Now, all of this information, most of it will be given to you on the day. So I believe it's TNCS system that's given to you. We know it's AC, so we must tick that AC box, and it is a 1-phase 2-wire. We know that. Nominal voltage is 230 with 50 Hertz frequency. Now, usually we'd leave these blank and we'd fill them in later on. However, because I have already done my results here, I know that I already done supply polarity. There is no other supply, so that's NA. I know that my earth fault current is the higher one, which is this one here. So it is 0.19, and my loop impedance was that one there, which is 0.69. Supply protected device. Now this refers to what is supplying the board, not the main switch at the board, what supplies it. Again, this is given to you on your exam. However, this can be found out by inquiry or investigating yourself. So, means of earthing. We haven't installed an earth electrode, but it does go back to distribution facility. Maximum demand, again, given to you. For this instance, we're just going to say 80. And we're going to say that it's a 88-1 type 2 100 amp. There was no earth rod or tape installed, so that's NA. Earthing conductor, right, so the main earth was copper and it was 16 mil. Now we confirmed continuity of that, so we can tick that. It's copper for the bonding. it was a 10mm, and we confirmed continuity of that. Notice how we are not putting in any of the results here. So these results that we got are good to have, but they don't actually enter our test sheet. Yeah, it was on to a really short water pipe, and there was no other types of bonding. Right, main switch. So this is where it starts to ask of what the main switch is. So this one, we were in the workshop, which was room 114. Now I always like to put the distribution board reference there. So it was DB1 that we were working at. So the main switch, it was a 61008 RCD that had 2 poles, so it's switching both the live and the neutral. The current rating on it was a 63 amp, and there was no rating or setting that could be changed on there, so that is an NA. Its voltage rating was 230. All of this information can all be found out by looking at the breaker itself, looking at the RCD. It has the BS number on it. You can see what the rating is. It tells you what voltage rating is, and then all of these it also tells you. So it was a type A that we were using upstairs. It was a 30 milliamp RCD. There was no time delay on it, and the measured operating time now, when we done our RCD test, it was 27.3 milliseconds. So 27.3. Right, now that's that done, we're on to our tick sheet. So, condition of consumer's intake equipment. So a visual inspection of the consumer's intake equipment. Well, we've looked at it and it's there, so yes. Now for these, as you can see, you can only put a tick or an NA. So, yep, that one's a tick. Number 2, parallel or switched alternative source of supply. That is an NA because there is no other source of supply. Protective measures, automatic disconnection of supply or ADS. Well, that's a yes because there's the MCBs that all overprotect and switch off and automatically disconnect. So that's a yes. Basic protection, yes, I can't get my fingers into any enclosures, that's basic protection. Protective measures other than ADS. Now, a lot of people think that means RCDs, but that is not the case. This is referring to things like SPDs, etc. and stuff like that. So for that one is NA. Additional protection. So additional protection is RCDs. So that is a yes. Distribution equipment, yes, that was there. Were there circuits, both distribution and final? Yes. Was there current and isolation? Was there isolation and switching? Yes, I could isolate and switch off circuits if I wanted to. Current using equipment that is permanently connected. Now, the one thing on there that was connected, that's permanently connected, is the DOL. That has an electromagnet in it that is constantly having energy flowing through it, waiting for you to press that start button to pull it into place and keep it going. So yes, that is there. Identification notices, well, there were stickers on the board saying what circuits were, so circuit charts, diagrams, things saying danger 400 volts. Yeah, okay, yeah, that was there. Location containing bath or shower. No, there was no bath or shower. Other specialist locations, so that's referring to, I believe it's section 7 of your regs book, where it talks about swimming pools, fairgrounds, temporary installations. So there was none of that. And prosumers, low voltage electrical installations. Now, prosumer is someone who produces electricity. Yeah, so we consume oxygen, but we consume carbon dioxide. So prosume, low voltage, so solar, wind, micro hydro, no, none of that. Yeah. Comments on existing installation. Now this is referring to an addition or alteration. So that one we don't need to do anything. Lastly, this certificate is only valid when blank schedule of circuit details and test results are attached. And in brackets here, in case you get stuck, it says enter quantities of schedules attached. Now it's asking for schedule of circuit details and results. There's our circuit details. and there's our results. And it's one of each, so therefore it is just one scheduled circuit details and one test results attached. We then move over the page to the next one. So, schedule of circuit details. So DB reference, we've agreed that this is DB1. The location was in workshop 114. And it was supplied from, now you can say, mains, meter, or origin. I don't know how you spell it. Origin. Fuck it. So you could say any of that. Distribution circuit overcurrent protected device. Now this information is what we wrote out up here. So it's just copy that down here. So we said it's an 88-1. It is a type 2 rated at 100 amps. SPD details, there is no SPD, so we tick NA there. We go circuit 1, 2 and 3. So number 1 was the ring. Number 2 was the lights. Number 3 was the motor / DOL. Now, type of wiring. This is all found at the bottom here. Now, we know that it was in non-metallic conduit and non-metallic trunking. So we can write C/E if it's in both. If it's mainly in conduit, just write C. If it's mainly in trunking, you can write E. So for this one, because the majority of it was, I believe it was all in conduit, is C. Reference method. Now this one we find out by using our on-site guide. This is method B, containment fitted directly to a wall. Yeah, which is reference method B. Number of points served. Now the ring had 4 double sockets. The lights had 1 light and 2 switches, so that is 3 points served. And the motor and DOL had the motor and the DOL, so that's 2. Next we move over to conductors, number and size of live conductors. So for the ring there was 4 at 2.5 because there was a live, 2 lives and 2 neutrals. Remembering that on this sheet the neutral conductor counts as a live conductor. So for that it was 2 times 1.5 for the lights and 2 times 2.5 for the motor. 2 times 1.5 on the sockets. 1 times 1.5 for the lights and 1 times 1.5 for the motor. Now, all of this information can be found out by looking in the board itself. Now, I know that these were 60898s. They were all type Bs. The 32 was on the socket, the lights was on a 6 and the motor was on a 16. Braking capacity, remembering that this figure is the figure that we see on the breakers that are in that box, given on the breaker in amps. So you may see 6,000 or 10,000 on there in the box. But then it's asking for you in KA. So it was 6 KA. Our maximum permitted ZS can be found out using our on-site guide. Yeah, page 145. He says with not so much confidence, but we can find that out through there. So we know that on page 145, let's have a look. So the ring, 1.1 lights, 5.8 2.87. Motor and DOL is 2.2. Now, RCD. We know that the BS number for the RCD is on the previous page, just there. 61008. We know that it was a type A, as I said on the previous page. It was a 30 milliamp RCD with a rating of 63 amps. We then turn over the page. DB reference was DB1, the ZDB, so the ZE for that board was 0.69. The IPF was 0.19. We've done polarity. There is no phase sequence. And there was no SPD. Now, we did not do an earth electrode resistance test, so that is an NA. However, I just checked the numbers, and that was the serial number for the one that I was using. So, we make sure the draw and arrow, because not only do we do it, obviously it was a multifunction test, but we've done it on all them tests. 1, 2, 3 circuits. So the ring, we do need that. The others, we do not need that. We don't need to do long lead or method 2, I believe it's called, on any of their circuits. We tested at 500 volts. We've done polarity. We pressed the test button. We didn't have an AFDD, so then I can start populating, taking the figures from here. So my little R1 was 0.31, the little RN was 0.09, and the little R2 was 0.09. The R1, R2 was measured as 0.06, and then we can write in the remarks section that R1 plus RN was 0.06. Then we can also put in here that the there we go. So we've covered here that we have calculated it as well. However, that if you do fill out your sheet like this on the day, this will get submitted as well, so that will also show that you've calculated as well. Circuit number 2, that was the lights, wasn't it? So that was 2.36, and the DOL we said was 0.05, and then we can write here as well, R1 plus RN, R1 plus RN equals, for the lights it was 1.37, and for the DOL it was 0.04 ohms. Okay, so we said that we got greater than 500. On all of that. Here, live to live, it means between live and neutral, or if we're testing 3-phase, L1 and L2. Yeah. Here, live and earth means both live to earth and neutral to earth. Yeah, so we can write in there if we have neutral to earth fault, and we don't need to leave this blank on a single phase. Maximum measured, so our ZS for our sockets was 1.2, sorry 1.02. It was then 3.05 on the lights and 0.74 on the DOL. A disconnection time, so the disconnection time is that one there, 27.3. Now because there was only one RCD, if it trips on that time on one, it'll trip on that time on all of them. Yeah. All that is left for me to do now is put my name, sign it and date it at the bottom. And that is my test certificate complete.